So today's a little something different. Today we're going to try to predict or guess what Ultron is going to be like in Marvel Rivals. And if you watched my last video about Marvel Rivals and the whole support crisis, you'll know that I said, if you watched all the way to the end, that I think Ultron is going to flip this whole crisis upside down on its head. And that's because I have a few predictions that I feel like will change the way teams flow. And there's just, I can't really put it into words. We're gonna get right into this. So we're here on Photoshop, and let's just get the basis out of the way. I think Ultron is going to be a support character. 100%. So that's the main reason why he's going to flip this whole drama, if you will, on its head. I'm probably going to put a picture there of Ultron because this is atrocious. So we know that every character has their ultimate ability, right? See, we don't even need that. We can just put ult down here. Before we get to the ult, because we're going to save the ult for last, the whole kit is going to build up to the ult. So passive abilities here, and then we're going to put the base abilities up here. So this is going to be the jankiest video I've ever made. Anyways, so we have our 3 abilities. Boom. Boom. I've kind of thought this through mostly. These are like the basis. I didn't do team ups or anything. Now that we got all this written down and ready to go, we needed to talk about the primary attack. And since it's Ultron, the first thing we have, I want to say is that I think he will be the first healer. I think he will be the first flying healer. Obviously, I think he's going to be similar to Iron Man. And let's just say he isn't able to fly. I think he's going to be like levitating off the ground in some way. Totally different than him actually being able to fly, because that'd be a big part of his kit. So I do think he's going to be the first flying healer. And I think he's going to have projectiles similar to Iron Man, except they just heal, since that's out the way. Ability 1, which is just like your right bumper for console players and for whatever it is on keyboard and mouse. The first ability would be, I feel like I can't say the first ability without saying that I think Ultron is going to be mostly similar to Loki. I think we're going to have another Loki, and that's because I think Ultron is going to be able to summon the drones. So what do the drones do? I think he's going to be able to spawn 2 to 3. So I think 2 drones is the number. And I think they're going to be able to fly around or kind of sit near a teammate. I think you kind of assign them to a teammate as you would as like a Luna Snow doing the snowflake. Similar to that. So I think Ultron will be able to summon 2 drones that you can send to or assign to a teammate, and they'll follow the teammate and heal them up and maybe even dish out some damage, depending on what you assign. So like it'd be even cooler if like the drones you can assign to your teammates, like if you could switch, if it was up to the Ultron to switch it, because I think that fits more into who the character is. I get it would be more player friendly if they could control it, but I just think it makes more sense if Ultron is the one that's able to do that. And this would have a cooldown similar to Loki's, because these things are going to be getting destroyed, because these drones you can also assign to yourself. So that's why I was kind of debating. I was debating with myself if I wanted to do 3 versus 2 drones. But even if you as the healer want to have 2 to yourself, you could do that as Ultron. You don't have to give the drones to your teammates. Able to summon 2 to 3 drones either on yourself or the team that you choose to either heal or shoot at enemies, and they follow you around until they're destroyed. They don't do a lot of healing. They don't give too much healing. It's very similar to Loki and his clones, but they do damage. Like, think of Loki clones. That's the main thing. So if you want to compare what I think Ultron is going to be like, what character he's going to be similar to, think of Loki. So yeah. So drones, I think 2 or 3. So I think ability 2 is overshield on self. And not only is it an overshield, this also is a defense mechanism. To any brawler that wants to like actually come up and punch you, they take thorns damage. So basically the damage is reflected onto them. Not the same percentage. I think you should definitely scale it down with deflect. This is what his second ability would be, and the overshield would probably be like plus 300, but it dissipates over time. I'm not gonna do the cooldowns or nothing. We're just doing strictly abilities. Lastly, I think the third ability would be ability 3 could be like a detonate. So think of Loki again when he activates the lamps. So think of that, but instead he detonates the drones around him, or the drones that are sent. So whatever setting they're on, when you do the detonation, that's what they'll explode into. That's the type of damage they'll do. So if it's an offensive drone, it'll just explode and do damage. If it's a healing one, it'll do like a little healing mist that lasts for a few seconds, or something like that. So ability 3 would be detonate. Now we get to the ult. So there were two ideas I had for an ult, and I don't know which one I like better, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys. The first one is more sort of support based, and the second is kind of both offense and support. So the first one is, I think Ultron, he'll be able to summon a legion of drones, let's say 5 or 6, and they just go around and like fly in the air just randomly. Kind of in an AoE, where depending on where you put it, obviously they have a radius, and they'll just fly in that area, targeting, auto-locking on your teammates as they're flying around and just healing them. And it lasts for, and they'll follow your team. So I think it would be that if you want to have a drone-based ult, like a legion of drones. There's that one, and then the second one would be pretty dope. And I think he would just, it'd be cool if he turned into like an offensive freaking just powerhouse, like a Terminator almost, where he just, in one arm he gets like a giant cannon that just shoots freaking bombs, and then in the other he has a cannon that just heals. And you can just kind of think of Punisher's ult, like duration wise and damage wise, but in one arm you have super deadly explosives, and then the other you just have really good heals, and you can do both. So I can't write that down, but that's what his ult would be. Maybe you could assign the legions too. So maybe you can make it an offense based legion or a support base, where they just go around and heal instead of going around just trying to kill enemies. There you go. That's what I think Ultron is going to be like. Very similar to Loki. Except the big thing is he can fly. I really hope he can fly. It'd be dope if he was like the first flying healer who can protect himself pretty well. Like, I think in one arm, his ultimate form, kind of similar to the his primary fire with the right trigger, could be just like heals, and then in the other, the left trigger, offensive base, like he shoots. You could have two, like instead of having to switch, kind of like Cloak and Dagger have to do. You can have one that's based just on damage and the other is based on heals. I think you could do that without having to switch forms. And then the ult would be just a stronger version of that. You like transform into this giant Ultron or something, and you just stomp around. Like, you're basically unkillable. You turn into just a big mech. But I think his basic attacks, your left trigger and right trigger, right click, left click, I think that would be it'd be both, just depending on the trigger you press. Oh, team up. We should also do a team up. I can't think of anything else right now, but he would definitely have a team up with Iron Man. Don't know what it would be necessarily, but you could do a lot with that. And I think the other teammate, you gotta have at least another. Oh my gosh, he could have a team up with someone just kind of oddball. He could have a team up with like Black Widow, right? And it gives Black Widow freaking wall hacks for like 10 seconds when you activate it, but it has like a 30-second cooldown. I think that would be so good for Black Widow, is if you give her something like that, a team up with Ultron that gives her wall hacks. So that's just like kind of just like a shot in the dark type of something. That's wishful thinking, I guess, but I think he's definitely going to have a team up with Tony Stark, Iron Man, for sure. So yeah, there you go, guys. Basic prediction for Ultron. I know the illustration wasn't the best, but you know, hopefully you guys can read this terrible handwriting. And anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Leave your opinions. Let me know what you guys think Ultron's gonna be like. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.